creating a psychological horror platform game called DreadFall. In DreadFall, you play as Avery, exploring your nightmares descending into darkness. Avery is caught in a relentless grip of her own nightmare. Your mission is to navigate through these horrifying dreamscapes, each darker and more twisted than the last, all while uncovering what is causing these deep-rooted fears that haunt Avery's psyche. Now, originally, as you might already know from my previous devlog, I've pretty much decided to rework everything. And this was kind of a challenge because I'm not really good at platformers, and I don't play platformers that often, but I wanted to create a unique experience for the gameplay and mechanics. And so I kind of dove into starting off my player completely from scratch. So I started with the movement, and I actually made a weight and friction and adjusted them to make it feel like a really good platformer, to make it feel real and make it feel odd. And the reason I made it try to feel odd is because, well, we're in a dream, and so it should feel kind of off. And I'm not sure if this is something I'm actually going to change or maybe change over time, because I do have some ideas in the sense that as Avery is going into her dreams, she's kind of getting into more of a nightmare, and I want to make that gameplay more immersive, but more into the immersiveness later, because right now I want to focus on the mechanics, because mechanics took me quite a while. And so the way I made the movement was I added friction and weight. So the friction is mainly for the movement when it comes to being on the floor. When you're on the floor, you don't stop immediately, because that makes it feel so awkward, right? Like in real life, we can't just stop instantly. And so I thought about that and decided to change that. Now, I also added a bit of weight to the player in the sense that it would jump and fall differently, because I don't want it to be too realistic, because it's a dream. And obviously in our dreams, we don't exactly have physics the same, right? Or things don't always make sense. And so I made the jumping and falling a bit different, but I also added a unique component or a part to my game, a mechanic that I don't think I've seen in other games, hopefully. But basically, when I jump and I click down, click S or downwards on my keyboard, my player will go down faster. And so I thought that would give it a unique mechanic that most other platformer games don't have. And another part I thought about extending on the mechanics of my player is, okay, well, I've finished the movement of my player, but now I need to think about the attack and everything and the actual gameplay of what I'm going to do. And so I wanted to keep an attack, but I also wanted to kind of keep a dash in my game. And so originally I had separate attacks animations for my previous game, and I didn't really like it. It was really messy. I had combo attacks. It was so awkward and it did not feel nice to play. So I decided to make the game similar to Katana Zero. If you guys have played that before, if you haven't, definitely check it out. It's a really good game, really good platformer. It's really immersive. So that's something I'm trying to, I wouldn't say copy, but definitely use as inspiration. And in Katana Zero, you play the player with the keyboard and mouse. And so I tried to decide to incorporate that as well. So the attack would follow the mouse at any direction, and you would dash towards that direction as well. Now, this was a bit tricky because I've never done anything like this. And I tried to make it actually look nice and smooth, especially the angles. Those were really hard to do because I'm not very good at angles and math, as some of you might not be either. So that took me a while to get right. But once I got that was pretty much it. I had pretty much most of the things I needed. I just ended up adding a wall slide and wall grab, which was nice because now you can also just grab on the corner of an edge and that's it. So you can now slide as well. The slide, I don't know, I had some weird bugs with that, but I ended up getting it in the end. And one weird thing that I added recently was my death animation. I'm really proud of this actually because it looks pretty nice. My death animation kind of shatters into the player. And yeah, so that's how I added a pretty neat death animation without actually having an animation for it. And that's pretty much most of the stuff that I did for the player. It took me a really long time to revamp everything completely from scratch. The player definitely took me the longest time for everything. In the next video, I'll probably talk a bit more about the world generation and just other things I worked on and other struggles, because I definitely had some of those. But I hope you guys enjoyed this devlog. If you guys want to wishlist my game, it'll be down in the description down below. DreadFall, and I'll see you guys next time.